to meet you. I am Himangi. I am part of AI and analytics team at Frost Sullivan from almost past 4 years. And I've been working in AI space and understanding how AI is creating impact in different industries, or be it horizontal functions, or be it from technology perspectives like computer vision, NLP, and understanding solution providers and service providers and telcos in the space. So this is what my broader area of research has been so far. And I'm happy to talk with you on this topic today.
Absolutely. And when you say 4 years in AI, that's like a veteran at this point because it's such a new field. Yeah, that's great. So I'm Steve Kyle. I'm the product evangelist for Flytxt, and absolutely, I'd like to first say thank you for having me. And obviously, we're extremely happy to be awarded the 2023 award for what I think is a very cool title in competitive strategy and leadership, which is artificial intelligence specifically for telecom customer experience. So with that, Frost and Sullivan, and obviously with your background and experience, you choose some really interesting domains for the best practices recognition programs and awards every year. So I was wondering if we could understand your thoughts as to why AI for telecom CX in particular was one of those awards that you chose this year, one of those fields and domains.
Great question over here. So one of the major trends that we are witnessing in across the globe in the telecommunication space is that it is undergoing transformation. I mean, advanced technologies like IoT, AI, cloud is all supporting telcos in their digital transformation journey. And also telcos are heavily investing in 5G and other network related initiatives to kind of evolve themselves as a provider of digital lifestyle services. And this means that connectivity is being commoditized. And by that, what kind of services will you provide to your customers that helps you bring in strategic differentiation in the market? Given this context of a transformation, we would like to caution telcos that in order to achieve a long-term success in this market, they will have to kind of strike a balance between delivering exceptional customer experience and also achieve business outcomes. This is where customer lifetime value matrix comes into picture and helps them to justify their investments in CX and digital transformation initiatives space. Higher the customer lifetime value means understanding customer needs and then providing them with personalized services. It is easier said than done. Even though telcos have kind of access to modern CX tools and data management tools, they often struggle with maximizing and measuring the value of customer lifetime. This is why we chose to, look into the providers who offer solutions in this space. I mean, this was the primary reason.
That's awesome. What you said right at the end there is like, this is easier said than done, is so prescient, right? Like we all think this is something that's easy, but it's really difficult, which is why we're really delighted to receive this recognition, because it is a very difficult space. So, you mentioned you kind of looked at a lot of providers there on who can actually do it. I was wondering if you could walk us through that evaluation process of like what made Flytxt stand out versus some of the other providers that you might have looked at.
Yeah, perfect. I think Frost & Sullivan's evaluation process for the best practices awards recognition is fairly simple and straightforward. We kind of focus on the market relevance and technology innovation of a solution provider's business portfolio. We want to ensure that solution providers not only address the market gaps, but also have the ability to deliver out-of-box solutions to their customers. And of course, their solutions are unique and have a competitive advantage in the market. While evaluating Flytxt, the answer was clear yes for all the above parameters. Flytxt has built a strong suite of SaaS-based solutions, leveraging core technology, a well-trained and privacy-preserving AI. It has out-of-box capabilities to provide deeper insights for consumers for various use cases, be it customer care, be it marketing, or digital product and design bundling. since these solutions also support industry standards APIs and can be easily plugged into existing CX and automation solutions, we felt that Flytxt brings a unique value proposition on the table and has an ability to create a mutually rewarding experience for their partners, for their customers as well. So this was an overall, in a nutshell, the process of evaluating and why we chose Flytxt for this award.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Okay, so let me pop up one question to you over here. So this was one of the challenge even while I was doing my research. I mean, we cannot complete discussion on AI without this question. How do you manage to safeguard data privacy and yet provide accurate predictive insights to customer behavior for telcos?
I'm so glad you asked that because it's such an extremely important question. I mean, especially like I live in the EU, we sort of charge GDPR and other initiatives. And I know it's on the top of the mind for most people in many, many regions, not just the EU. It's just spread out from there. And I need to say, first off, that rather than seeing regulation and privacy policies as an obstacle, and I know many people have said this, but telcos have to come to see that this is actually an opportunity, and privacy regulation and compliance is so important because it is top of mind, that if you start building credibility and trust, including that includes transparency with your customers, it's a way to actually reinforce your commitment to a customer's privacy because they're seeing this as very important. So if you take the approach, especially CSPs, because customers know there's so much data out there, if they take that approach to sort of transparently gaining trust from their customers, those customers, and you said this earlier, where it's customer lifetime value has got to be a mix of experience and better experience for the customer, and trust is part of that with business benefits, right? So if they take this approach, the customers will become more loyal, and a loyal customer is obviously going to spend more of their time, and that translates into sort of a profit share or wallet share with those businesses. And so we've recognized that, and Flytxt has been, I would say, at the cusp of this trend for years. We've even built privacy, and I'll talk about this. We've actually patented some of our privacy solutions, and they're years-old patents, and they keep developing. We're adding more and more. So we've built that into the very core of our solutions. And so we understand as well that there's this perceived conundrum, right? Like, how do you, on the one side, say, we're going to capture all this data, and on the other side say, oh, but it's private? It sounds sort of like a puzzle there. And so we put considerable resources into this patented technology, which we call privacy preserving AI. And clearly it's a technical process. I've actually tried to read some of the papers, and it's difficult to go through, but the basic fundamentals is we enable a company like a CSP to sort of anonymize all this customer data. And then our ML algorithms are training over that data to understand the customer behaviors, and not just the behaviors, but sort of to based on sort of the history, to do predictive behavior and understand predictive, like what will they do in the future based on this. And the next step is that, we also run the same process we can with any of the partners that a telco might be working with. And so, that might be a fintech company or a media company, who has their own sort of walled garden of data. And so we can run this separately on both sets of customers, and without sharing or moving or doing any sort of personal data, we sort of match the anonymized behavior. So there's just sort of patterns in behavior between the two sets of customers, or partners rather, and we can kind of create this holistic picture, this sort of one unified picture of customer behavior across the entire partner ecosystem. And I think you mentioned it earlier, with 5G coming, that's going to become more and more important, right? Because there's going to be apps on the edge everywhere, and we're going to have a bigger and bigger partner ecosystem. And the cool thing is, it's not just theory, because it sounds kind of complicated, but we've already implemented this with a major telco and one of their digital service partners. And we use it to take sort of the behavior from both sets and actually predict the other's customer churn risk. And the results were incredibly accurate, and they were really, really pleased with this. And obviously, we're going to be working on more use cases in the future. But it's just nice to see that it's not just a theory, but it's actually working in practice. a bit of a long answer, but it's an
No, but it
interesting
was insightful.
All right. So I just mentioned it, and you mentioned it earlier with 5G and, commoditization almost of connection and moving towards more applications and more data. So given the exponential rise in the scale of the entire customer engagement across services, digital apps, the whole ecosystem, how do you see in Frost and Sullivan AI making an impact on specifically telecom CX in the coming years?
Yeah, I think this is one of the important questions, especially for this space. I mean, telcos and trying to achieve customer experience for their customers. With 5G and faster network services, a product portfolio have increased tremendously, and even the customer touch points have increased significantly. Thereby, it increases the complexities for telcos to analyze all these data points, and hence telcos will definitely have to leverage the power of AI to manage these complexities in their business decision making at scale, speed, and accuracy if they want to achieve it. However, as I said earlier, that telcos will have to maintain a balance between delivering exceptional customer experience and also achieve business outcomes. If you see, telcos have kind of sought to improve customer experience through reactive interventions. But in today's day and age, customers demand more proactive care, personalized services, and real-time responses. And this will demand even more accurate predictions of customer needs and recommended preemptive steps on both human touch points and self-care. This is how telcos can kind of elevate themselves in achieving greater customer experience. Though we see a lot of innovative use cases that are coming out of AI in the customer experience space, I think solution providers need to manage the negative market sentiments as well. They need to see how data privacy can be preserved for their customers. At the same time, gain confidence of the business stakeholders from the output which is generated from AI, because of obvious reasons that AI can generate hallucinations. Once these challenges are addressed, it will accelerate the adoption of AI in the telecoms CX space.
I love what you said there about just the volume of data. It's almost physically impossible anymore for any sort of business division to sort of process that all without the aid of AI. Like, that's how important it's becoming, which is great. Thanks.
Yeah, perfect. So there was one question which came across my mind while I was answering the above question. Of course, we will continue to watch what's happening with Flytxt in this domain. Is there anything that you can share with us on how you plan to leverage AI to deliver more benefits and value to your customers, especially telcos in this space? This will kind of, sum up our entire conversation we've had till now.
Absolutely, and thank you for asking that, because it's I think the area that is most exciting for me and with our product. And it's not just me, the whole company is excited and focused on this, because we see so many applications, like just an expansive amount of applications for our well-trained AI. And when I say well-trained, very few companies, I believe, have an AI training specifically in the telco space like we do. We have actually trained over 1 trillion, that's with a T, data points, not billions, not millions, but trillion. So that's a huge amount of like very specific data in this industry, right? So that kind of training is rare to find, and it really is going to mean that the AI and the ML suggestions are honed and really, really appropriate. And so layering on that the privacy preserving AI means that we can actually use all of that data in a way that respects all the customers' privacy and enables business units and functions at telcos and CSPs to really utilize it, which means it can influence workflows, it can optimize decisions and actions from all of these business units to really improve the experiences of the customer on the one hand, while having that improved experience give business value on the other hand. I mean, we've talked about that theme, like we can't just sort of increase CX without making sure there's an impact on our bottom line in one way or another. So this 2023, we've all seen it. It's been a breakout year for generative AI. I mean, the soaring popularity of ChatGPT, students are using it to answer their questions. There's many, many more kind of similar applications rising up. The majority of these, though, are sort of augmenting, I feel, a person's, speaking and writing skills. We're using it to sort of start a letter or answer some questions, things like that. What Flytxt is doing is taking Gen AI to what I think is the next level. I'm kind of calling it immersive. And we're enabling, because we have all that trained data, right? So we're enabling business decision makers, whether that's in CX or marketing or product design, to really develop entirely new value propositions and experiences. And what do I mean by that? Because it sounds kind of generic. So some examples might be, creating a personalized promotional messages, which we tried to do before, but was always a bit off, for each and every customer. That's, incorporating the entire sort of history of their personal context for marketing, right? So AI for marketing, or it's an actual effective customer care process, which resolves specific issues. Like, maybe it knows this customer had some connectivity issues before, and this time when they're calling customer care, it's already prompting that we had these specific issues, and we can go right to the solution much faster, much more relevant, much less frustration for that customer, and they become happier, right? So the other idea might be, if you're a sort of digital product designer and you can, you're always looking for better products and services, you can design high performing offerings that are more likely to meet business objectives like revenue or margin optimization, by sort of looking through this history of what's been used and what's been adopted. And you just can't do that without AI. Absolutely. Like, back to the previous point. Okay, of course, we're conscious that all these challenges that you referenced previously, like the trust, you said, how do we instill trust in AI? Because everyone's a little bit like, it's a black box, right? Like, we're a little nervous. Is it giving me the answer I actually want, or is it using something else? So there's this lack of understanding that I think comes from lack of transparency. And that leads to hesitancy, right? So if I'm a business user, I don't understand all these algorithms, but I want to know that it's right, it's on the right path. So we're investing a lot in bringing in sort of what we call explainability into our AI-driven decisions. So you don't just kind of get a black box answer. We are developing this sort of solution which provides textual and visual explanations for why the solution was given. So it makes it super transparent and easy for executives to trust and accept the sort of recommendation, which I think is really unique. And of course, if a recommendation happens to be wrong, it'll then retrain itself and figure that out, and then tell you, we're doing this now because of this. So I think that's really cool and really quite unique. And I'll leave it with saying that, again, absolutely, the other dimension that you brought up in your response was still, again, the privacy preserving data AI policies and patents we have. Because if you don't address that on an ongoing basis, kind of AI can be a one-off test and things like that, or only if you integrate privacy preserving techniques in this sort of ongoing process, you get commercially viable applications throughout the business, right? From CX to product design. And you can just keep doing that with confidence, and then spread that to your partners as well with confidence. So this is an area, I mentioned one earlier, that we just keep looking at with use cases, especially with 5G and growth of the ecosystem. So those two areas, the sort of explainability and the privacy, we're always layering on top of all the use cases. So we're trying then to address like that full stack of AI and make it far more useful than just sort of typical generative AI.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it perfectly. I mean, privacy preserving and transparency is so important. It's becoming kind of a double-edged sword in the market. I mean, you cannot go to the market without having it. I mean, it's because if you want to market your product, you want to take it to the scale and accuracy, you need it there in the place. I mean, customers are not going to trust if you do not have those transparency and privacy preserving standards in place. I mean, that's so important in today's day and age.
Absolutely. And it's not just the customer, well, that's the end customer as well. And I even think, though, that the business units, myself as a user, I don't want to trust it without that transparency and that sort of explainability, right? So I want to know exactly why I'm getting that recommendation, So then I feel confident giving that recommendation to my customers. So I think it's really cool that it's this end-to-end kind of explainability and transparency.
Yeah, totally agree with you.
Excellent. Well, Himangi, thank you very, very much. These were great questions. We really appreciate it and the opportunity to sort of explain why we believe Flytxt is so unique and so interesting. And then you mentioned it as well earlier, that black box, right? Not black box, the out of the box. So taking black box, making it an out of the box, making it transparent, and making it really relevant. So we have that out of the box solution trained over trillions of points that explains why and can be sort of used on so many applications. It's just such a cool opportunity.
Thanks. It was great talking to you as well. We will definitely continue to have a close look, and we'll obviously, get in touch with Flytxt in future as well, and, continue to tap this space and, know more what's happening with Flytxt. And we will definitely, touch base hopefully soon.
We appreciate it. You have so much experience in the area that it's great to hear from you.
Yeah, same here.
All right. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.